to talk about at our cafe setting here, Mark Bosnich and Craig Foster. And guys, we're going to start with the Europa League.
Yes.
And I'm going straight to you, Boz. Are you torn from an Australian perspective, Ange Postecoglou and Spurs, hoping for a victory, or a personal one with Manchester United?
Well, I love the way how you say torn. So for me, that's a very negative thing to say. I like to see it more as cannot lose, because I dearly love Manchester United, my boyhood club, to win it, obviously. But I won't be as disappointed as I normally will if Ange and Spurs do it. I think it's a very important milestone for Australian coaches. Fozzie's spoken about that before, and especially after such a difficult season, I think it would be really, really good, not only for himself and the team and the fans, but for the club. You know, they haven't won a trophy since 2008. They haven't won this last European competition they won was 41 years ago, this very competition. So I think that would be very, very important for them.
Fozzie, from an Ange Postecoglou perspective, unless something extraordinary happens, which is possible with Daniel Levy, the Spurs chairman, before the Europa League final on May 22 our time, we're on air from 4:30 Eastern on Stan, that Ange won't know his future until after this game. But how important is this fixture for his future?
Well, it's hard to know. Like you say, you know, the history of the club has been making decisions much earlier than now. And therefore there's been a lot of assumption in the English press as to whether, you know, he's gone irrespective, or whether this might save him, or whether in fact he's going to be there. You would have liked to think that, you know, if he was being backed, you know, a month ago or even a couple of weeks ago, that they might have come out and say, look, it doesn't matter, you know, we're fully behind him. Like, that would have been great. And say, you know, we're heading in the direction in terms of the football. We've had a lot of injuries and blah, blah, blah. Like, they haven't done that, so therefore everyone is still, you know, tossing up as to what's going to happen. Because of that, I think the most important thing from Australian coaching and Australian football perspective is that Spurs are able to win, and Ange is able to get that trophy, and then irrespective of what he does, whether he stays or otherwise, at least he has that as a bargaining tool if indeed he does go for the next job, in order to be able to remain at the same level.
What type of shape do you guys think Spurs go into the final? No Maddinson, obviously, he's gone for the season. Bergvall as well.
Kulusevski came off.
Son?
This is Stan Sport, only on Stan.
So what do we think? I mean, what kind of shape is Spurs in compared to January?
I think compared to January, if you're talking about from an injury perspective, in a far better shape that they're in. But the end of the season is the end of the season. Foz will tell you, regardless if you've been injured or not, you're going to be tired. Now, let's talk about first and foremost those ones that have been injured. It still takes you 2, sometimes 3 weeks to get back to feeling your normal self. Sometimes it even depends on the severity of the injury. You don't feel you're like walking or running properly for a while. Yeah, let alone start to play really good. So in terms of just the pure having bodies available, they're in a far better state. I think they're in a far better state mentally as well, because they actually got to the final after all those trials and tribulations around the January time. But these finals, a little bit like derbies really, a lot of times form goes out the window anyway, and it's on the night and how you prepare yourself. Sometimes the bigger the game it is, the better for the players. Other times it's opposite. We always have that saying, you know, play the game, not the occasion. That's going to be very, very important, because it's going to be, regardless of what anyone says,
Catch this on Stan.
Achievement, it's going to be a huge game for both sets of fans and players. And the ultimate prize, number one, is as we know, to win a trophy. But the second biggest one, and we'll be talking about that, one of these two teams will be playing in the Champions League next season.
Oh, it's a £100 million game, so it's a massive, massive game.
How do you see Spurs and how they're playing at the moment? Because the Bodo Glimt second leg, they were happy without the ball. They controlled the game without the ball in many respects, which is unlike